The Last Pharaoh of Egypt. The complete story of Cleopatra II. Narrator: for over 3,000 years, the pharaohs ruled Egypt. They built the Great Pyramids, raised magnificent temples, and created one of the greatest civilizations the world had ever known. But by the 1st century BC, that glorious kingdom stood on the edge of destruction. A powerful empire was rising across the Mediterranean. Rome, its armies had conquered nation after nation. Soon, Egypt would be next. Only one ruler stood between Egypt and complete Roman domination. Her name was Cleopatra VII. To some, she was a brilliant queen. To others, a dangerous political mastermind. But there was one thing no one could deny. She was the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt. This is the story of the last pharaoh of Egypt. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC into the Ptolemaic dynasty. Her family traced its origins not to ancient Egyptian pharaohs, but to one of Alexander the Great's generals, Ptolemy I. For nearly 3 centuries, the Ptolemies ruled Egypt. Unlike many of her ancestors, Cleopatra embraced Egyptian culture. She learned the Egyptian language, studied philosophy, mathematics, medicine, diplomacy, and became one of the most educated rulers of her age. At just 18 years old, she became queen alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. But peace did not last. A bitter struggle for power erupted within the royal family. Cleopatra was forced into exile. Her throne appeared lost forever. Then, Rome's greatest general arrived in Egypt, Julius Caesar. Legend tells that Cleopatra secretly entered the royal palace, hidden inside a rolled carpet or linen sack, to meet Caesar. Whether legend or fact, the meeting changed history. Cleopatra impressed Caesar with her intelligence, confidence, and political skill. Together, they defeated her rivals. Cleopatra reclaimed her throne. Soon after, she gave birth to a son known as Caesarion. Many believed he was Julius Caesar's son. When Caesar returned to Rome, Cleopatra followed as an honored guest. But in 44 BC, everything changed. Julius Caesar was assassinated. Rome descended into civil war. Once again, Cleopatra faced an uncertain future. A new leader emerged, Mark Antony, one of Rome's greatest commanders. Their alliance quickly became one of the most famous relationships in history. Together, they ruled the eastern Mediterranean. Their fleets dominated the seas. Their armies terrified their enemies. But in Rome, another man was watching. His name was Octavian, the adopted heir of Julius Caesar. He believed Antony had become too loyal to Cleopatra. War became inevitable. In 31 BC, the two sides met at the Battle of Actium. Hundreds of warships clashed across the sea. It was one of the greatest naval battles of the ancient world. Despite their strength, Antony and Cleopatra were defeated. They fled back to Egypt. The following year, Octavian invaded. Alexandria fell. Mark Antony, believing Cleopatra had died, took his own life. Soon after, Cleopatra realized there was no escape. Rather than be paraded through Rome as a prisoner, she chose death. Ancient writers claimed she allowed an Egyptian cobra, an asp, to bite her. Others believe she used poison. The exact cause remains uncertain. She died in 30 BC. With her death, the line of the pharaohs came to an end. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire. The age of the pharaohs was over. Yet Cleopatra's legacy never faded. She was far more than a legendary beauty. She was a brilliant diplomat, a skilled linguist, a determined ruler, and one of the most remarkable women in ancient history. For over 2,000 years, her name has inspired books, paintings, films, and countless legends. She witnessed the fall of one civilization and the rise of another. She fought to preserve Egypt's independence until her final breath. And that is why history remembers her, not simply as a queen, but as the last pharaoh of Egypt.